Yeah, that will have to come off or it'll kill you. Shh. Now, what have we here?
In 2 years,
Inflammation of the lung.
after I've qualified,
Ovarian dropsy to be tapped.
I should be the most famous surgeon in England. I'd lay odds on it.
A quartine of brandy and some water.
Celebrating, are we, Mr. Palmer?
Mr. William Palmer, MRCS you're talking to. Even if it was the crumb I got him through it.
And I heard he never got his fees.
And he's to be married soon to the daughter of Mrs. Thornton of Stafford.
That's if her guardians do not stand in her way.
Never got paid for work I did on her houses. £35 she owes me, that Mrs. Thornton. You tell her.
I think he's trying to spoil your celebration, Bill.
How's that fine young wife of yours, George?
You keep your hands off her.
Care to win some of that money off me, George? Another quartern. I'll bet you 5 sovereigns you can't drink as many tumblers full.
Well, Mr. Abley?
You're on, Dr. Palmer.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
What do you think? Only £25 a year.
It's beautiful. Can we afford £25 a year?
Of course we can afford it. With your annual allowance of 70 and my income from the practice, it's what the people will expect of their new surgeon.
If you say so.
The chap with the whiskers, that's Dr. Bamford. He's been practicing for 60 years. He's never passed an exam in his life. Well, the gentleman next to him, that's Masters. He's the landlord of the Talbot Arms, and I don't think he's ever stepped foot outside Rugeley. Samuel! I'd like you to meet my wife, Annie, my old school friend, Samuel Cheshire.
Mrs. Palmer?
Mr. Cheshire.
Samuel is the most important man in Rugeley. He's the postmaster.
He doesn't say that when the bills become due.
You must come to dinner one night, you and Jane.
Yeah, I'd be pleased to. Nice to meet you, Mrs. Palmer. I hope you'll be very happy in Rugeley.
That's the problem with this place, knowing everybody.
Well, for a surgeon, I would have thought it was beneficial.
You know, you may be right. Mrs. Bradshaw!
Dr. Palmer, welcome home.
My wife, Annie, Mrs. Bradshaw.
Pleased to meet you, Mrs. Bradshaw.
You enjoyed your honeymoon?
Yes. Yes, very much. Paris was magnificent. Jim.
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Palmer.
Right. Now, the grand tour. Right. This is the surgery. As you can see, there is a separate door, so you will not be disturbed by patients coming and going through the house.
Can't I even open the door to them?
You will have a house to run.
Oh, William.
It may be small, but houses do not manage themselves. No, I have a surprise for you. But you must close your eyes tight. I've had it fine-tuned. Try it. The truth is, I don't want you to be bored here. There are only two topics of conversation in Rugeley: horses and women.
Then I'll become an expert in both.
You'll find they use the same language to describe both. It's not very pleasant.
I grew up with my mother's language. I know all about how vile a tongue can be. I'd like to do whatever it takes to help you build up a successful practice.
I could do the shopping for you, mistress.
Thank you, Mrs. Bradshaw. But I could do with the fresh air.
If I can speak out of place, it's good to see Dr. Palmer married.
Is it?
Syphilis? Oh, yes. Have you been with a prostitute, Samuel?
How could you think such a thing?
Then one has been with you.
Yeah, maybe I was indiscreet. At Manchester Autumn Meetings last month, I won some money on the Post Office Hotel handicap.
A night of Venus, a lifetime of Mercury.
What about my wife?
When did you last have relations with her?
Well, not since the birth of her last child.
Then you've nothing to worry about, have you? Now, take one of these 3 times a day after meals. Use this as a purgative before the first pill. If the mercury starts to hurt your mouth, then reduce the dosage to 2, but do not stop taking the pills.
Thank you, Bill.
Don't mention it. That is what we're here for.
Oh, I've got a hot tip for Newmarket on Monday.
Samuel, I am a married man with responsibilities. That life is behind me now.
She won't have heard about the coast. You know, thought he was up there without.
No, I'm telling you. Soak a bath sponge in chloroform, and you can cut off almost anything. Pull a tooth, half a teaspoonful, and a handkerchief, and you can forget about labour pains. It's revolutionary.
That's our Billy, always coming up with something new.
I wonder whether childbirth is a fit topic of conversation over lunch.
Doesn't Genesis say, in sorrow thou shalt bring forth children?
Thomas.
Didn't Genesis also say, each man shall eat in sorrow all the days of his life? Here we are, eating fowl and drinking good claret.
I merely ask if it's right to rob God of the deep, earnest cries of a woman in labour.
You are going to be a comfort to your flock one day, aren't you?
If you had to do the crying, Thomas, you might think differently.
So, what does the solicitor in the family think, hmm? What's the legal viewpoint, George?
I'd want to know whether it kills people.
Too much of anything kills you. More potatoes, anybody?
And if it will encourage every fool to try and become a surgeon.
Annie, tell us what you believe.
I think if something gives you deep joy, then you should suffer for it.
What's the point of marrying an heiress if you're going to come and borrow off your poor old mother?
You are not poor, Mother.
What life do I have?
Annie's allowance is only £70 a year.
Your father built up a good timber business to leave us all with plenty of money. How you got through 7,000 of it is beyond me, even in London.
The city has its distractions.
I wish I were as free as you. Your brothers won't allow me to marry again in case I disgrace you all. If they hadn't conspired against me and stopped me marrying that nice Mr. Duffy from the Shoulder of Mutton, you'd have had a new father.
He was a linen draper, Mother.
They said my letters to him were lascivious. You didn't think they were lascivious, did you?
Of course not.
Here I am, condemned to widowhood, just going through the tedious ritual of visiting friends on Sunday afternoons, while you have all your life ahead of you.
I was never part of the conspiracy. You know that.
Billy, you're the only one who makes me smile.
Returning to the subject of money.
How I enjoy these moments in your company. George and Thomas, with their long, serious faces, depress me so much.
I owe £380 for plate and furniture.
There's nothing in Rugeley you can't do. I'm convinced of it. People trust qualified men these days. Far more than they trust that old Dr. Bamford. You have so many opportunities.
Annie's allowance may be a golden egg. Unfortunately, her mother sits on the nest like Mother Goose.
Then you'd better take good care of her, hadn't you?
I said no decent man would want to marry a harmless bride.
They would make life so much easier for you.
I don't want visits from that fortune hunter. That's all he wants to marry him for. You know that, don't you?
We are married, Mama.
I've heard stories. Oh, you won't listen to me. You never do. Where's my medicine?
Where did you put it?
You see, you bring him here and he steals my medicine.
We've come to ask a favour, Mrs. Thornton.
More money? You've had enough of me, the pair of you. You'll get no more. When I'm dead, you'll get this. And the 8 other properties. Much good may they do you.
Just £100 would see us through. It isn't easy setting up a practice and a home. And I'm sure you wouldn't want Annie to be anything less than the most respectable wife in Rugeley.
Then she shouldn't have married you. Put that down! Don't let him take my gin away!
Perhaps I should go for a walk.
There's the river.
Why must you be so horrible to William? I'm going to get a servant for you. That bird's been on the bedclothes. It's disgusting.
I've heard stories about that family.
And there are no stories about our family.
I begged the Colonel to marry me. To make it right for you. To make you legitimate.
And the only reason my father never married you was because you drove him to suicide with your hateful language. Just understand what it was like for me. Not knowing if any man would ever want me.
I'm sorry. Come here. Don't cry. Where's my box?
I'm pregnant.
At least he's good for one thing.
That's it. That's it. It's a boy, Dr. Palmer.
Oh.
Mrs. Palmer will be ready for you in just a few minutes.
Both are fine, William. Forceps weren't required. Pity. Goodbye.
May I? Shh, shh, shh.
Oh. Oh. Hello. Isn't he handsome?
Looks just like me. Of course, there's a lot of you in him, too.
He has your eyes. Sparkling.
I'll bank the fire up. Got to keep the little mite warm.
Oh. We should call him William Brooks. After your father, William Brooks Palmer. She would love to see you, of course. Unfortunately, still being in a delicate state, she can't make the journey over as often. That is why we have both decided it would be best if you moved in with us. Without the chicken. Look at this place. I cannot have Annie worrying about you, and she does, you know, very deeply. With us, you can be looked after, get some proper nourishment, while we work on these houses, reopen the main one.
If I come to live at Rugeley, it's because of her, not you.
Well, that's settled then.
She's coming!
Oh, leave it alone! Stand servants.
very good of you to have her here.
Must look after the goose that lays the golden egg. The new scullery maid seems to be settling in.
What did you do with the chicken? Oh, William, you didn't!
Annie, I did.
I want my gin.
Dr. Palmer says you've got to eat, and eat you will. This is very good chicken broth.
Just a tiny glass, please. It'll help the broth go down.
Dr. Palmer's instructions are quite clear.
Oh, damn his instructions! I want my gin. If I can't have it, I'll scream this house down! Ah! Ah!
I made a saddle for him once. I get from me that horse has got potential. If you're interested, I'll give you 3 to 1.
I am not interested.
What's one bet, Bill?
Perhaps his life's ruled by women now, having a wife and mother-in-law in the same house.
That's it.
I never thought I'd see the day Bill Palmer wasn't a man in his own house.
Oh, Dr. Palmer, please come. She's impossible. I can't do nothing with her.
Lay me 100.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
Dr. Palmer? Sir? Sir? Starting, missus.
The bowl!
I'll get her something from the surgeon.
No! Get him away from me! I'll take nothing from that awful devil. Give me a proper doctor.
Your medical training stopped at flatulent colic, did it? Gin is her poison, but it's also her medicine. I recommend an effervescing mixture, the saline draft. If that doesn't work, 20 drops of diluted nitric acid in 2 ounces of water should do the trick. That is, if you are happy for her to be my patient.
Extremely happy.
Yes.
something, William.
I'm doing everything humanly possible.
You're qualified. Dr. Bamford isn't. You must have knowledge he doesn't possess. Use it.
Your mother doesn't trust me.
I do. Everyone does. Oh, thank you, William. Thank you.
You can do no more now, mistress.
I would have certified English cholera myself.
Disease of the liver.
Well, of course, I bow to great experience. And she was your patient.
Yes. Strange the saline didn't revive her. Never fails. It never fails.
Are you saying, George, Mrs. Thornton's properties are not ours to sell?
I'm sure Colonel Brooks intended that on the death of Mrs. Thornton they should pass to Annie. Unfortunately, he didn't make his intentions clear in the will.
They sound absolutely clear to me. We shall go to law.
Listen to me, William. As your brother and family solicitor, Chancery proceedings are too costly.
What does it mean?
It means, Annie, you'll only have the rent from the accumulated properties. On your death, they'll pass to Mr. Shallcross, your father's nephew, I believe.
But I'm his only child.
But not his legitimate heir. I'm sorry, Annie. If your father had only made his intentions clearer.
I have spent a lot of money repairing those properties. Can't you do something?
One more question. Will I be able to pass anything on to my children?
You'll still receive your allowance during your lifetime. But I'm afraid the answer to your question is no. You have a fine, gentle wife, a good practice, a son. Don't ruin it.
I don't know what you mean, George.
Are you gambling again?
Mrs. Palmer, I'm very glad of this opportunity.
Yes, Mr. Hattersway.
It's a delicate matter of an unpaid bill by your husband for brandy, gin and porter. For £16 and 3 shillings, to be exact.
I'll mention it to my husband, Mr. Hattersway.
Yeah, but it's been outstanding now for 4 months, Mrs. Palmer.
My husband's away on business, Mr. Hatterswade. I'll mention it to him when he comes home.
Business in Chester, more than likely.
I thought you might be William.
What's wrong? Where is my brother?
He's gone to Chester. To the races.
Oh, no. Come.
He ran up a debt. He has more bottles in his wine cellar than he does in his surgery. None of them paid for. I found these bills. I've turned away 17 patients over the last 2 days.
Thought William had put all that life behind him.
So did I.
That's how he got through the £7,000 of Father's money. I'm sure it's the thrill of the gamble that means more to him than the money.
I'm afraid, Sarah. Very afraid.
I say one thing, Bill. You're a good loser.
Another bottle of champagne.
Had a good week, then?
And the £500 Dr. Palmer owes me. I'll be going home with 1,000.
Mine ran nowhere.
Oh, well, I think I'd better be home to the wife. Good day to you.
Listen, there's no need to hurry back to London. Why don't you stay with me and have dinner this evening? Maybe stay for a few days.
Oh. In that case, Mrs. Bladen's going to have to wait a bit longer for my company. This little silencer, though. Never met a woman couldn't be pacified by a full money belt. A delicious meal, Mrs. Palmer.
Thank you, Mr. Bladen.
If I may say so, you are as beautiful and charming as your husband led me to believe.
My husband led me to believe he would be home yesterday.
You can always judge the temper of a woman by the quality of her cooking. Yours is gentle. Mrs. Bladen, when ill temper pervades, dashes in the pepper like a cloud. Sometimes even the top of the pepper box is included, like some kind of thunderbolt from the gods.
Are you all right?
Oh, it's a hip injury. Plays me up now and again. Got at the brewery.
You're from Ashby, I believe.
I live in London now, though I prefer the country air. I might take a trip over to Ashby tomorrow, see my brother. Order a new pair of riding boots from him. Have a bit of a spend, generally. And then we can discuss our little financial transaction.
What financial transaction, William?
I borrowed some money, that's all.
How much?
About £500.
On top of the money we owed George Myatt?
I have paid back George Myatt, but then I had a certain tip. I mean, really certain. Look, I will raise the money.
Where from?
Perhaps my mother will sign a bill I can borrow.
Borrow, borrow. That's all I ever hear from you. That's the only way we keep a roof over our heads, by borrowing. There's something you have to know. I'm expecting another child.
Are you sure?
Yes. How large a family will you need before you start to behave responsibly? If Mr. Bladen's prepared to wait, you can sell this. After all, you did promise him some sport.
I did, didn't I?
You keep a good cellar, Bill.
Nothing begins a friendship so well, Leonard, as a fine old port or a good brandy.
Or ends one so well as an outstanding debt.
So, how was your day in Ashby?
Splendid. My brother Henry is coming over to bring me new riding boots in a day or so, if I can impinge on your hospitality a little longer. The room, by the way, is very comfortable.
I find that the best way to get the most flavour out of a port or brandy is to drink it down in one.
Capital idea.
I've been meaning to ask your advice about something. I've had my eye on a horse. for some time. Not to back, but to buy. Meat and stout?
Fine legs, elegantly contoured. Always thought she had a bit of an ugly head, but then I thought that about Mrs. Bladen when I married her.
Thought I might race her myself. Possibly even breed from.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. Now, I suggest we have a settling.
I'm afraid I don't have the money.
Oh?
But I will have tomorrow when I've been to the bank. Now, Leonard, no more hill taps this time. Down in one. Leonard, you must drink it. I made it up specially in my surgery. It'll do you good.
What caused it?
Probably just a bilious complaint.
Perhaps Dr. Bamford should come in, give a second opinion.
Why? You said yourself I have more knowledge than he.
But Dr. Bamford's experience is longer.
Oh, perhaps we should ask Leonard what he would prefer. An opinion based on knowledge or longevity.
What have you been treating him with?
Oh, the purging draught, Glauber's salt, spearmint water, antimona wine, and tincture of senna.
The black draught is what he will need.
He did say he'd had an injury to his hip about 6 months ago.
That's right. It was troubling him when he arrived.
That will be an abscess. The black draught will see to that.
He also said he didn't want his wife to know that he was ill.
Oh, didn't I tell you? A racing friend of his called while you were out.
What about?
He said he had a hot tip for the Oaks. Also that he thought Mrs. Bladen ought to know. She has to come by train from London.
Soon have you up and about for Epsom. Annie said you had a hot tip for the Oaks. Care to pass it on?
Mrs. Bladen, I'm so glad you could get here.
Where is my husband?
He's upstairs. He's in very good hands. He has 2 medical men attending him.
He'll have me attending to him.
You're welcome to stay here as long as he needs you.
You're very kind.
I'll ask Mrs. Catherine to make up another room. You'll be very comfortable. This is my husband, Dr. Palmer.
Mrs. Bladen.
So, this is what you get up to when you're away from home. Brought on by over-drinking, no doubt.
We believe it may be an abscess brought on by an old hip injury.
Hip injury? Never stopped him going racing. Up and down the country, never home except at weekends. Leonard, Now you listen to me. When you get better, you're coming back to London with me. And there'll be no more of this racing or rich food. All those disreputable characters you call your friends. Complete rest and quiet is what you're going to get. Give me one of those. Leonard! Leonard!
Shall I lay him out, sir?
Yes, Mrs. Bradshaw. I think we'd better.
Forasmuch as it hath pleased Almighty God, of his great mercy to take unto himself the soul of our dear brother here departed, we therefore commit his body to the ground. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, in sure and certain hope of the resurrection to eternal life through our Lord Jesus Christ.
Dr. Palmer, Henry Bladen.
Leonard's brother.
I wonder if we might have a word with you.
Certainly, Mr. Bladen.
On a rather delicate matter. My brother, I believe, had won a considerable sum at the races. £500. And from what he told me, you owed him another 500.
You must be mistaken.
I'm not mistaken. He ordered a pair of riding boots from me a few days ago, and I saw the money. It's just that there was £15 in him only.
He did say he was going to Ashby for a bit of a spend.
A pair of riding boots, Dr. Palmer, does not cost £500.
I'm afraid I'm at a loss to explain it. As for me owing him £500, I'm afraid quite the reverse was true. I have a document here signed by your brother setting out the fact that he owes me £59. As it seems the betting book is missing, there appears no way to confirm the matter.
You've been very kind, Mrs. Palmer. Thank you. I understand you're expecting another child before Christmas. Yes.
Lot 24, ladies and gentlemen, that's the bay filly. Honey dear. That's a well-bred filly. Where's she to be starting away? Somewhere 250, 250, 200, 140 bit of 40, 140, 140 bit of 60, 160, 180 guinea bid. At 180 guinea, 200 guinea. At 200 guinea, 220. At 220, 240. At 240, your turn at 260 guinea bid, sir. At 260, waiting for you, 260. At 270. At 270, 280. At 280 guineas. 280, 280. Your turn now, sir. 290. At 290. At 290, 300. At 300, you're out front of me, sir. At 300 guineas. Are you finished? At 300 guineas, all done that at 300 guineas. Yours, sir.
Congratulations, she's a fine horse.
She's the first I've ever bid for.
If we weren't bidding against each other, you could have got her for a lot less. You're practically bidding against yourself.
My name's John Parsons Cook.
William Palmer, Sergeant. This is George Myatt, he's a saddler. I'm venturing into bloodstock myself. In fact, I've just rented stables if you need someone to keep her.
I have my own farm. 130 acres over at Catthorpe.
Is that so?
The problem I have is racing under my own name. I have a stepfather who strongly disapproves.
Well, that's not a problem. If you need a name to race under, you can use mine.
Well, that would be very good of you.
Not at all. Look, why don't you pay a visit to my stables sometime and see how it's done?
I'm beginning to think our meeting was fortuitous. I'll visit you very soon.
Thought you'd be home sooner.
I'd better get straight in the surgery. I have a patient waiting.
You had many waiting.
Your medical practice clearly does very well.
It's built on trust, John. In a small town, people trust a qualified man. How did you come by your 130-acre farm?
I inherited it from my grandfather.
You're from a wealthy family, then. Your mother, is she still alive?
Both my parents are dead. I was intended for the law, but other pursuits took over.
As they do.
Yes.
So, will you come in with me, John?
I don't know that I have much to contribute in the way of expertise.
It wasn't expertise I was thinking of.
Oh, well, if there's any small financial way I could be of help.
I'm sure there will be, John.
I trust you are well, Dr. Palmer?
Very well, thank you. I have another request to make. A loan for another £2,000.
You do realise you have 4 bills being held over, for which the interest is due... Let me see. Tomorrow?
Yes.
I was considering issuing a writ.
That won't be necessary.
What security do you propose to offer?
Will you accept this bill? Drawn by myself, accepted by my mother, Mrs. Sarah Palmer.
This is your mother's signature?
Yes.
She is a woman of considerable means and substance.
Indeed. I have here another bill accepted by Mr. John Parsons Cook, a fine young man from a very good family. He is pleased for me to borrow a further £800 and offers as security on the loan to put up 2 racehorses owned by himself.
You are very fortunate in your connections, Dr. Palmer.
As a surgeon, I enjoy a great deal of trust and respect.
May I inquire as to the purpose of these loans?
I have expanding interests, and a family soon to be increased.
Ah, allow me to tender my solicitous congratulations. Children are a delight.
Joseph has the soft sweet hay, starlight drives the dark away. Bye, 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 bye. Angels sing a happy day.
It's the boys from Mr. Bonny's school, Ma'am. There must be at least 10 of them. Don't they have such lovely voices?
Here, Mrs. Bradshaw, give them 2 shillings.
Must be a sign of good luck, William.
We have the Lord to thank.
At daybreak, on the bleak sea beach, a fisherman stood aghast to see the form of a maiden fair lashed close to a drifting mast. The salt sea was frozen on her breast, the salt tears in her eyes, and he saw her hair like the brown seaweed on the billows fall and ride. Such was the wreck of the Hesperus in the midnight and the snow. Christ save us all from a death like this on the reef of Norman's woe. Bravo!
I hope Thomas doesn't preach like he recites. They may not want him back at you, Mrs. Martin.
Rather more verses than last year.
The usual 22.
Thank you, William.
I know a ballad.
I think our brother Walter needs looking after.
Come all you blooming servant maids, a warning take by this. When in service with the parson, don't
Thank you, Walter. How is business in Liverpool?
Corn business is bad everywhere. Yeah. Hey, you've got bloodstock at Ennisford. Medical practice going well, too, is it?
Well, it has its ups and its downs.
More of the latter. Only 2 things the doctor knows how to cure. Gout and syphilis. I think the time has come for a game of forfeits. Expensive business, bloodstock, for a family man. With 2 mouths to feed.
I'll find the money somehow.
Take my advice. Insure them. You can't do better than have the strength of a good insurance company around you.
Is that so?
There are some unscrupulous people about who get at racehorses. Anything could happen. Anything at all.
That is sound advice, Walter.
What's a brother for, eh?
William, I think it's time for forfeits. Stay there, Dr. Palmer. Dr. Palmer! Dr. Palmer!
Oh! Oh my God! Oh my God, no! No! No!
not your fault.
Dr. Bamford said convulsions are caused by overfeeding and wrapping him up too warm. I only fed him one bowl of victuals, Mum. It was 12th night last year little Elizabeth died. This very same night.
I know.
You must not blame yourself, Mrs. Bradshaw. It was God's will. Cheer up. I told you Goldfinder had potential.
Shame he never showed it today.
It was the riding. Now, if Charlie Marlowe had been up...
He wasn't.
Never be afraid to back one of your own horses. 100 to 6 against. Just think what we could have won between us, John. Trouble is, I had to borrow the money to put on her, which has left me in a difficult position. I know I've never asked you before, but you couldn't lend me 600, could you?
I'm sorry, but I'm as broke as you. I've gone through most of my inheritance. 12,000. Mainly on turf. As a matter of fact, I was going to ask you to lend me some money.
Perhaps your stepfather could help out.
He's never forgiven me for throwing away both a career and an inheritance. I'm sorry if you thought otherwise.
There's no need to apologize.
It seems we're in the same stable.
I'll borrow the money off someone. Buxton in Stafford, Ashton in Birmingham. They lent me the money to get started after all. It's done all the time.
Like making rival horses safe?
Safe? What do you mean?
Isn't that the word you use for drugging horses before a race?
It's a practice that goes on, I believe.
Isn't strychnine one of the poisons used?
Where have you been hearing these things?
You once told me there are 2 topics of conversation in Rugeley. Women and horses. I listen when I go out.
Well, you shouldn't listen to those kind of conversations.
I'm going to have another child.
That's wonderful news.
Oh, William, I'm so afraid.
We shan't lose this one. We'll take on another nursemaid, a younger girl. Mrs. Bradshaw is well-meaning, but her ideas are so old-fashioned.
I couldn't bear to lose 3.
We shan't. I give you my word.
I come from Colton, Mum. My father's dead, and my mother's on the parish. I do desperately need a situation.
Do you have any brothers and sisters?
12, Mum.
Well, your duties here will be to look after our son, as well as general housework. Doing everything has become rather too much for Mrs. Bradshaw.
Well, I do like children, Mum. I'll look after him like he were my own.
I'd be very happy for you to do that. Your wage will be £10 a year, with board. I hope that will be satisfactory.
More than satisfactory, Mum.
Thank you, Eliza.
Thank you, Mum.
This is Miss Eliza Farm. My husband, Dr. Palmer.
I hope you'll be coming to work for us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Splendid. I'll show Miss Farm out. What a pretty young girl you are.
I knew a woman from Lichfield, had 6 children, all die of convulsions. There's nothing unusual about it.
Don't say that, Mother.
Her 7th, 8th and 9th all turned out perfectly healthy. So you see, there's nothing really to worry about.
I just wish William was home more.
We should be grateful that Turf is his only mistress.
I'll ring for some tea, shall I?
I just never know anything.
What do you mean?
Talk. Loose talk, that's all.
There's been enough loose talk about me in my time. Just ignore it.
You mean talk about William?
Look at the way that man died at the Lamb and Flag. What was his name? Oh, never mind. People said Billy put something in his drink as a prank. Nonsense. Abley. That was it. Abley.
It was an accident. During a drinking match, that's all.
Ah, tea.
Morning, Eliza.
Morning, sir.
My goodness. It's a long time since I've seen myself so bright in that. Come along, William. And it's... Oh! Off to the stables for you, young man. There you go. Whee!
Morning, Dr. Palmer.
Morning, Jim. Trot on, Striker. Trot on.
Willie! Eliza? Oh, could you go upstairs and bring Willie down, please, Eliza? I bought him a waistcoat and I'd like to try it on him.
Oh, he's not here, Mom. Dr. Palmer took him.
Took him? Where?
To the stables to see the horses.
To the stables, please. Hurry.
Trot on.
This? This is Admiral Chichikov. What's his name? Ch-ch-ch-ch-ch. Don't worry, nobody else can say it. And this is First Fruit. And this is Mischief. And he hasn't won a race yet. And why not?
This is a useless half-breed his father paid too much money for.
What do you mean by bringing him up here?
He's looking at the horses.
I don't want my son to have anything to do with horses.
Annie, he is our son. There is nothing here that can harm him. You must stop being so protective.
I just don't want to lose him, that's all.
Worry yourself like this, and there's more we could lose.
Can't I just hold him once, Mum?
No. I don't want anyone else to hold him. He stays with me.
Can't I just wrap him
I'll
up?
wrap him up.
If it's what my wife wants, Eliza.
Your wife's asleep, sir, so I brought him for you to see before putting him to bed.
Thank you, Eliza. Oh, he seems to have dribbled.
Oh, so he does. I'll get a cloth from the kitchen.
I heard it cry, and then it stopped, sudden.
That's the third to go. 7 hours, they say it lived. And me, nowhere near it this time.
I know moneylenders when I see 'em. Mr. Buxton of Stafford, and old Ashton of Birmingham faces on them as long as the odds on Bill Palmer's horse.
Who were those people?
Associates.
Moneylenders.
I had to pay them back.
We don't have any money.
We did have. Goldfinder won the Chester Cup today.
And now, there's nothing left of what you won. Just a cup. We have bills to pay. You must ask your mother to help us.
She won't give me any.
Then let's move from here. Find somewhere cheaper to live. Get away from all this.
I was brought up here. My friends are here, my patients. They trust me.
I don't think I know what kind of man you are anymore.
I'll prepare her food and medicine. Mrs. Bradshaw can take it up.
People said William put something into his drink as a prank. Nonsense.
It was an accident during a drinking match. That's all.
We believe it may be an abscess brought on by an old hip injury.
It was 12th night last year little Elizabeth died. This very same night.
You mustn't blame yourself, Mrs. Bradshaw. It was God's will.
Mom?
I wondered where you were.
I went for a ride.
In your condition, I don't like it. Come and sit down. I have something I want you to look at. This is a proposal for a life assurance policy from the Prince of Wales office. I have been thinking that if anything were to happen to you, Lord forbid that it should, your property will revert to your father's true heir, seeing as you only have a life interest in it. Don't you see? That would leave me and William with nothing. I have proposed your life for £13,000, just as a security against such an eventuality. All that is required is your signature here. That wasn't so difficult, was it? Any letters for me, Samuel?
Yes, two.
Any for my mother from London?
There is one, I believe.
I'll take it.
I can't do that, William.
Samuel, we have been friends for a long time. The truth is, I've got myself into a bit of a pickle. I have forged my mother's name on a number of documents, bills, and now they're due. I don't want to tell her it would make her unhappy.
You can get 14 years transportation for forgery.
I know that, Samuel. I need the extra time to find the money. You will let me know if any more arrive, won't you?
William, it's against the rules.
Tell you what, why don't I lend you my carriage on Sundays? You and your wife would love that, wouldn't you, now the warmer weather's here? Good day, Sam. They're predicting cholera this summer. It's just a chill, that's all. You'll be up and about in a few days. Now, drink all your medicine. All your medicine. I fear it is a bilious cholera. There's a lot of it about this time of year.
What have you been treating her with?
The fever mixture and doses of laudanum.
Try rubbing opium into the pit of her stomach. If that doesn't work, we could open her arm and bleed her.
I hope it doesn't come to that.
But what she does need is your presence here and your most assiduous care and attention.
She'll get plenty of that.
Good morning, Dr. Palmer.
Morning, Newton.
How can I help you?
I'd like 3 grains of opium solid, not as a tincture.
And how is Mrs. Palmer?
Not too good, I'm afraid. She would neglect her cold. Some of the most intractable diseases originate in neglected colds. So, how are you finding being Mr. Salt's assistant, Charles?
Treated my first patient yesterday.
Really?
A lady with earache. Tried a Union Peruvian balsam with oxgall. It's very successful.
Could I also have a few grains of tartar emetic?
I'd have to ask Mr. Salt about that.
I just thought 1 or 2 glasses of antimony wine would help my wife. Still, no matter. I'll go elsewhere. Good day, Charles.
Good day.
Morning, Mr. Salt. Your hands are cold.
I am cold.
Be grateful we don't live in India. The cholera is often fatal there.
Oh, William. I know I am dying.
Shh. Don't upset yourself. You need all your strength.
I've always loved you. Promise me. Protect Willie. You promise?
Man that is born of a woman hath but a short time to live, and is full of misery. He cometh up, and is cut down like a flower. He fleeth as it were a shadow, and never continueth in one stay. In the midst of life, we are in death. Of whom may we seek for succor, but of thee, O Lord, who for our sins art justly displeased. Yet, O Lord God most holy, O Lord most mighty, O holy and most merciful Saviour.
Take me, Lord. Take me with my gentle Annie.
Eliza, do you ever feel afraid to sleep alone? Afraid of the shadows?
I could fetch your brother back, sir.
I don't want him, Eliza.
It would be wrong, sir.
Wrong? What do we know what is wrong?
One you're expecting, William?
Yes, Samuel. A small crumb of comfort for me in these desolate times. Are there any more letters from London? From my mother?
That's 8 letters I've passed here, William. I can't go on doing it. If your mother finds out, I'll lose my position.
Haven't I done a lot of things for you? Samuel, lent you my carriage, cured you of a rather unfortunate affliction. You seem to forget I stand to lose a great deal more than you.
You should have thought of that before you started forging a name. This one's from Pratt again. He's a notorious bloodsucker, William. He preys on men like you.
I'm grateful, Samuel. I really am. At least I will be able to pay them back with this for my poor Annie's death.
That cheque won't even cover a quarter of your debts.
Then I'll have to think of something else, won't I?
You seem a very well-bred young man, Mr. Cook. A fitting companion for Billy. I understand you are in receipt of an inheritance.
My grandfather was a farmer. He left his estate to me and my sister. I'm afraid there's not much left of it now.
Your crops failed?
Not exactly.
John and I are considering going into partnership, buying some horses together.
I thought you said Mr. Cook was intended for the law.
Well, I was a solicitor. I now keep a few racehorses over at Lutterworth.
You've had quite a varied career.
There's a gentleman at the door, ma'am. Unexpected. Mr. Pratt from London.
I don't know him.
I'll see to him, Mother. I'll tell him you're ill.
Good. We don't want to be interrupted, do we, Mr. Cook?
I don't want to issue a writ. There's also the money that you borrowed against Mr. John Parsons Cook's racehorses. And that bill is due also. Now, so far, I've hesitated to contact Mr. Cook.
What would you say, Mr. Pratt, if I was to put some business your way?
Of what nature?
Insurance business, for which, by applying to a number of offices, you will receive a handsome commission.
Whose life did you want to insure?
I have a brother, Walter. He's a good life. I could get some medical acquaintances of mine to attest to that.
For what sum were you considering insuring him?
I thought 6 offices for, shall we say, £16,000 each. That would make £96,000.
He must be a very good life indeed.
Oh, get out of here! Get out of my house! Leave me alone!
Calm down, Walter.
Sometimes they go right underneath the house. I hear them.
You are imagining things. Imagining? Oh, you must stop drinking, Walter, for the sake of your health. Listen to me, as your brother and a surgeon.
Oh, listening, will you?
I need to raise some money, rather urgently. I was thinking, if I could insure your life, use the policy as a security upon which to obtain a loan, well, that would benefit both of us, wouldn't it?
Insure my life?
Just a small policy.
If it would help.
Can you do one more thing for me, Walter? Give it up. At least until you've been examined by a doctor, I can get Harland and Day and Stafford to say you're a good life.
Would they really? But I'm a worthless life, William.
No, you're not. I'm prepared to take a gamble on that, Walter.
Come on. Called magnificent. Thank you very much.
Well played.
Litchfield by the 4 Turnbull.
What odds are you getting on Polestar?
Well, even's not worth backing. I know she's your own horse and you're very proud of her. What do you say to getting Charlie Marlowe to pull her? You could go around the course getting 20 to 1 on Nettle. She's in very good shape.
You mean fix the race? Well, it's not cricket, is it?
It's not cricket. Wait. I'll go see how Nettle is.
We plunged on her! All the money we could raise. We stood to win 10,000. Stay back, stay back. Careful.
Serves me right for riding a damn poister's horse.
Me as well. It was a bad way, didn't it?
Cheer up, John. Things could be worse.
I wish I shared your optimism.
I've had an idea about the chicken at Ascot. Rattigan is the favourite, bound to win. But if we can get to him, I don't mean us personally, I have friends in these places, we could put him out of the race.
In what way?
I'll tell you. Arsenic on a carrot. You do know who's presenting the gold vase, don't you? Her Majesty Queen Victoria. That would be something.
I can't be part of it. I'm sorry.
Very well.
Then at least stay the night. It's Eliza's night off, and I hate this house when it's empty.
William, as your friend, there's something... This is not easy.
Out with it.
People are saying things. Unpleasant things.
You mustn't upset yourself.
Well, I don't.
Ah, well. Neither do I. A gentleman's debts are his own concern and nobody else's. So, you'll stay the night. That's settled.
I wasn't talking about debts, William.
Then what were you talking about?
There is a law of slander. You should invoke it.
There is also a law of friendship. It is built on trust. Never forget that, John. Whatever you have heard about me.
I think I'd better go home.
Had it 9 months to the day after his wife died. Her body not even cold. Didn't even have the decency to go away and have it. Had it right there in his house, she did, brazen as anything.
How is our young Alfred?
He's well, sir.
And, how's he getting on with his nursing Mothering Armitage?
Oh, it's the best place for him, sir.
Let me hold him. Oh. He's a fine, strong lad, isn't he? He seems to have dribbled on my waistcoat.
Oh. Let me take him.
I'm disappointed in you, Walter. I thought you could keep it up. Still, the insurance policy is in force. First premium paid. That's the important thing.
I've got an iron liver.
Yes, you always were the strongest. Let's drink to that.
Office is not merely hesitating, Mr. Palmer, it is withholding payment. As you know, 5 of the offices refused to accept the proposal, which leaves just the Prince of Wales.
Did they give any reason?
Having paid out $13,000 on your wife, they're reluctant to pay out on your brother. It also seems that one of the medical men from Stafford wrote to Universal Insurance Office warning them that your brother drank and was a bad risk.
Walter died of apoplexy. It said so on his death certificate. They must pay up.
Indeed. I hope they do. For I need scarcely remind you of the £710, 13 shillings and 4pence, which you still owe me on the first premium.
How can I possibly settle unless they settle?
Your mother's health, is it better?
Yes, fine, thank you.
Then I shall write to her again. And Mr. John Parsons Cook, and I expect payment, since they have signed all your bills.
I beg you, Mr. Pratt,
Give me just a little more time.
Time, I'm afraid, Mr. Palmer, is running out for you.
Oh, pilots on the railway. I was working on the railway.
Now, to Polestar's victory in the Shrewsbury Handicap. To Furbelar, her sire. Cheer up, Bill.
It was the riding that did it.
Surely you're back to yourself. I mean, you always advised me to back my own horses.
I couldn't raise the money. If I had, I would have backed her.
Bad luck. Where are you going?
I have to go home, sort some things out, but I shall be back tomorrow for the rest of the race. You stay and celebrate.
No celebration's the same without you.
Have some more champagne, Bill.
Champagne will be on me when I win on Thursday.
Bill! It's good to have you back.
It's good to be back.
Can't keep your Palmer down for long, mate.
Cheers. Cheers. Come on, have some more.
No. You haven't touched yours. You drink some, then I'll have some more.
Very well. There's something in it. It's burning my throat.
There's nothing in it.
My throat feels on fire.
I can't taste anything. Can you, George?
Nothing left to taste.
I had the most terrible night I've ever had. You didn't put anything in it, did you?
John, would I play such tricks? It was the water. A lot of people have been getting sick from drinking it. Either that or something that you ate cooked in a brass utensil.
That's probably it.
A couple of nights convalescing at my house, you'd be 100%.
If you don't mind, I'd sooner stay at the Talbot.
Why should you pay for a bed when you can get one free?
You've done enough for me.
Well, at least you'll be just across the road. I can keep an eye on you. We shall dine together tomorrow evening, discuss next year's races.
Here's the extra piece of candle you asked for, sir.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Glad you're feeling a bit better, sir.
Well, at least I feel no worse.
Night then, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll take it, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
How are you feeling this morning, John?
I feel my old self.
Good.
Thank you. I think you were right, you know. It must have been the water in Shrewsbury.
Almost certainly. John, what is the matter? John? I fear it's a return of the attack he had in Shrewsbury.
I'll make up a saline mixture to be taken in an effervescing state. If that doesn't work, I'll prepare 2 pills as an opiate.
I have to be in London on business tomorrow. Why don't you leave the pills at the surgery? I could give them to him if he doesn't improve.
Yes. You should have stuck to medicine, you know. I won't always be here to treat your patients. Or sign your death certificates.
Mr. Palmer sent this broth over for you. He's in London today. Oh, it smells very nice.
Elizabeth, I've brought Mr. Cook's pills that Dr. Bamford prescribed. I wonder, could you cut the seal?
Yes, sir.
Look, it's an excellent hand for a man upwards of 80.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, John.
William, did you go to London, collect my stakes?
All the money owing to you has been put into your account at Tattersall's. I saw to it. Did you eat the broth I sent over?
I couldn't.
You must take these pills Dr. Bamford prescribed for you.
No, no more pills. No more.
Here. No more ridiculous protests, John. Good.
Willie, come inside.
My name is Stevens. I'm John Parson Cook's stepfather. Can somebody take me to my stepson?
This way, Mr. Stevens. My name is Palmer. I was a friend of your son's.
Ah, yes. You're the surgeon. John has told me about you.
Bamford was treating him. He's highly respected around here. I have here a copy of his death certificate, where he has recorded apoplexy as the cause of death. I have spoken with the undertaker and suggest that we fasten him up.
Wait. I believe you knew something of my son's affairs.
Yes. I signed £4,000 worth of bills for him. I hope there is enough in his estate to enable me to pay them off.
Mr. Palmer, I doubt whether there are 4,000 shillings to settle them.
That is most unfortunate.
I want to see my son's betting book.
I know nothing of that.
You're a betting man too. Come now. Can't be very far away. Come in. I want this room searched thoroughly. I want it searched particularly for my son's betting book and any money he might possess. Never hurt anyone while he was alive. It can't hurt you now.
Right away, sir.
What about the funeral?
I intend to have my son's body opened, Mr. Palmer.
I never thought Mr. Cook was a very healthy young man. Very pale. And so many changes of occupation. Why this Mr. Stevens should want to open his body is quite beyond me. I never heard of such a thing in Rugeley.
Mr. Stevens comes from London, Mother.
Oh, well, that explains it. They do things differently in London, I suppose. Though why they should bring their ways here, I don't know. I blame the railways. We never had all this before the railways.
It's called a post-mortem. They're only performed where there are reasonable grounds for suspicion.
Suspicion? Against who?
Against William.
Billy! Oh, what a suggestion!
I'm glad you've been asked to help out at the post-mortem, Charles. Have you ever seen a body open before?
No, Dr. Palmer.
It's a dirty job. You'll need that. Straight down. Dr. Bamford will be there, and Dr. Harlan from Stafford. I think Dr. Monckton's assistant, Mr. Devonshire, is going to open up the body. It'll be a good experience for him, too. No heel taps. Well, we'd better get over the road. Mustn't keep the others waiting.
Have you done one of these before? That makes two of us.
Does Palmer have to be present?
Mr. Cook was his friend, sir. Dr. Palmer's much respected here.
I wasn't aware that the opening of my son's body would be treated as a sideshow.
I'm afraid you'll have to put up with the way we do things here. This is Rugeley, not one of your fancy London hospitals.
More's the pity.
If you'll pardon me, I'll go back and see how they're getting on.
Jim. Jim. Where are you taking Mr. Stevens?
To Stafford Station, Dr. Palmer, for the train to London.
They have no right to take the stomach away from there.
Oh, I don't know anything about that, Dr. Palmer.
They can put anything they like into it.
Eh?
Suppose they were to meet with a little accident on the way. An upset.
I can't do that, Dr. Palmer.
Of course you can, Jim. I'll make you all right.
I couldn't do anything of the kind.
Just turn the devils over.
No, I'm sorry, Dr. Palmer.
Mr. Stevens.
I am.
Dr. Alfred Taylor. I'm the lecturer on medical jurisprudence here at Guy's.
I have heard of you, sir, and I'm more than relieved to make your acquaintance.
You may not be when I tell you of my findings. Come, sir.
You have analysed all the contents of the jar?
Mr. Stevens, they cut open your stepson's stomach from end to end, letting everything that was inside out. They mixed it up in the same jar with 3 feet of his intestines. There are no other organs whatsoever. I have to say, it is the most shamefully conducted post-mortem I have ever come across.
But did you find anything?
I'm afraid not.
Palmer. Everything in that town is Palmer. Everyone is a friend of his.
We could telegraph for more organs.
That's it. We will do that, and this time I shall choose the doctors.
Mr. Cheshire to see you, sir.
Thank you, Liza.
Sir, I'd like to go and see my baby. He's ill.
Take the evening off, Eliza.
Thank you, sir.
What do you have for me, Samuel? open it. Then read it to me.
From Professor Taylor, Guy's Hospital, London. To Messrs. Lander, Gardner and Lander.
Just the findings.
We do not find strychnine, prussic acid, or any trace of opium. Due to the contents of the stomach having been drained away, it was found impossible to say whether any strychnine had or had not been given.
I knew they would not, Samuel. For I am innocent. As innocent as a baby.
He died in his nurse's arms. St. Anthony's fire, I think the doctor said it was. It started with this bright red rash.
Erysipelas, we call it.
It just seemed to burn up.
I wish I could have held him one more time.
Maybe you could have done something.
Maybe I could. But it wasn't to be. Sometimes God wills it that way.
I can't manage there.
Ah, Mr. Bates. I hope no one saw you leave the Talbot. Thank you, Eliza. Thank you for coming, George. I want you to run an errand for me. The inquest on Mr. Cook starts today, of course. It'll be just a formality. I want you to deliver this letter to Mr. Ward, the coroner. He's a very good friend of mine. Also, I'd like you to call in at Mr. Fran's, the game dealer. I want a nice package of game sent to Mr. Ward. A codfish, a barrel of oysters, a pheasant, a turkey, you know, that sort of thing. Oh, and, you won't let anyone see you give him that letter, will you?
I'll do my best, Dr. Farmer.
Good.
Billy! Everyone at the inquest was against him, even the coroner.
Well, Mr. Stevens, considering the post-mortem, a most satisfactory outcome.
Yes, indeed.
They may have enough evidence to arrest, but it won't be enough to hang him.
Oh, Billy! Billy! Oh, my Billy! Oh, my Billy!
The coroner believes you have a case to answer.
They're coming to arrest you, William.
On what evidence? There is no evidence. I am innocent.
There's worse, William. They want to exhume Annie's body. Anne Walters.
They're all lying. Everyone is lying. My Billy wouldn't do anything like that.
Mr. William Palmer, I have a warrant for your arrest on a charge of willful murder. Also on a charge of forgery.
Eliza. I have to go now. Will you please take care of Willie? Tell him I have gone away for a little while, but I will be back.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Mr.
Charles?
Stevens. Mr. Stevens.
Might I have a private word? It could be considerably to your advantage.
You have visitors.
George. Sarah. Thomas. You see, it is not just funerals that you have to come home for, Thomas. Well, what news?
Walter's body was too decomposed.
Annie's wasn't, William. Dr. Taylor is saying he has found the poison antimony in all the organs of her body. Will you swear, by our common faith, by all the duties you owe to man and God, that you did not give it to her?
I swear.
Then I must believe you.
They also found a trace of antimony in Cook's liver. Not enough to cause death. Nevertheless, they're only going to try you with Cook's murder.
On what evidence? Just a trace of antimony. We use antimony in medicine as an emetic. That is how it could have got into both their bodies. They cannot possibly find me guilty of Cook's murder.
All of your possessions are to be auctioned off, William. To pay your creditors.
My horses too.
That's 6.5 guineas, 7. At 7 guineas on the left and sold then at 7 guineas. Right, what have I bid for this portrait of Goldfinder, winner of the 1853 Chester Cup? Let's make Dr. Palmer's creditors happy, shall we? Start the bidding at 7 guineas. 5 guineas. 3 and away, thank you. At 3 guinea bid, at 3, 4, at 4 guineas. At 4 guineas, 5. At 5 on the right, and a half is it? At 5.5. At 5.5 guineas, yes, madam, 6. At 6 guinea bid, at half. At 6.5, right. So away, are you done? At 6.5 guineas, 7. At 7 guineas on the left, and sold that at 6 guineas. Next up, we have a 7 racing drinks. That's special. That was pocket blood press. Let me split it. 10 guinea.
William Palmer, you are charged that at Rugeley in the county of Stafford on the 21st of November 1855 you feloniously, wilfully and with malice aforethought committed murder on the person of John Parsons Cook. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Miss Mills, you were attending Mr. Cook at the Talbot Arms.
Yes.
The broth, which the prisoner sent over, did you taste any of that?
Yes.
How much do you suppose you drank?
About 2 tablespoonfuls.
Were you sick?
Oh, yes.
Did you vomit?
Yes.
How frequently?
All the afternoon till about 5 o'clock.
Thank you.
Did you state one word about this to the coroner?
I did not think it was the broth at the time.
Have you since been working as a chambermaid in London?
I stayed 6 weeks at Dolly's Hotel.
Did you see Mr. Stevens there?
Yes.
How many times?
Perhaps 4 or 5 times.
Will you swear it was not more than 10 times? Or 20 times?
I will.
Will you swear it was not more than 12?
It might have been 6 or 7 times.
What did he speak to you about?
He would merely call to see how I liked London.
Mr. Stevens is a man not in your station. He is a gentleman. Do you, on your oath, say he called to see how you liked London?
Yes.
We sought for various poisons. All we found was a trace of antimony in the liver.
You're not suggesting antimony was the cause of death?
I am not. Antimony is usually given medicinally as a tartar emetic. It was just a trace.
Have you ever witnessed
witnessed an instance of the action of strychnine on the human subject?
I have not.
What description of animal have you experimented upon?
Rabbits.
Did you attempt to find the strychnine afterwards in the bodies of the rabbits?
I did, in 4 instances. In 2 of those, there was no post-mortem indication whatsoever of the presence of strychnine.
How do you account for that?
By absorption into the blood.
Will you describe the symptoms?
When the poison begins to act, the animal suddenly falls upon its side. There is a trembling of the whole muscles of the body. But then there is a sudden paroxysm. The legs are stretched out and the head is thrown back to give the body the form of a bow.
As for strychnine, is your only knowledge of the effects of strychnine poisoning limited to rabbits?
Yes. I have a great objection to destroy life, except from great necessity. I find here, however, in 2 dead bodies antimony. One of them died suddenly. The other, I find the body saturated with antimony, which I never found before in my examination of 300 dead bodies in this country. And I say the circumstance demands explanation.
Do you know the prisoner, William Palmer?
I do.
Did you see him on the evening of the 19th of November? The night Mr. Cook fell ill at the Talbot Arms in Rugeley.
I did. He came to Mr. Salt's surgery and asked me for 3 grains of strychnine.
Did he say more to you?
He asked me what would be a dose of strychnine that would kill a dog. I told him a grain. He asked whether it would be found in the stomach after death.
What did you reply?
Well, I told him there would be no information and that I did not think it be found. Then he said, "It is all right," and he did that.
He snapped his fingers?
Yes.
That wretch, Newton, that vile wretch!
He only produced this evidence 2 days before the trial.
Is there any truth in it, William? It's lies! All of it! I got back that night. I didn't get the Stafford fly until 10:10. How could I possibly buy strychnine off Newton at 9?
The prosecution are going to say you made up that strychnine into pills and substituted them for the ones Dr. Bamford left.
I didn't have time! And as for me asking him how much strychnine it would take to kill a dog, I am a qualified surgeon. Would I ask the shop boy? If I had wanted to buy strychnine, then I could have bought it in London, and nobody would have been able to prove...
Yes, quite.
If only William could give evidence.
I'm afraid the law doesn't allow that. Perhaps one day it will.
That won't help William now.
Cheer up! Our defense hasn't started yet. There's never been a trial for murder by strychnine before. I have an array of medical experts who will testify that what Cook died of was idiopathic tetanus. The prosecution have as good as put the rope around their own necks. Pardon my insensitivity. Gentlemen of the jury, I will call before you some of the ablest and most distinguished among the men of science in this great city. They will tell you this, that the only safe conclusion at which you can arrive is that strychnine not having been found in Cook's body, it never could have been there.
God will deliver him a fair verdict, Mother.
It's a pity he didn't deliver him a fair trial.
The jury's coming back. The jury.
Mrs. Palmer! Mrs. Palmer!
Gentlemen, have you agreed upon a verdict?
We have.
The prisoner will rise. Do you find the prisoner guilty or not guilty?
We find the prisoner guilty.
He's guilty! Palmer's guilty!
William Palmer, you have been convicted by a jury of your country of the crime of willful murder. I trust that as you can expect no mercy in this world, you will seek to obtain mercy from Almighty God. You will be taken hence to the jail of Newgate, and thence removed to the jail of the county of Stafford, and from there be taken to a place of execution, and be there hanged by the neck until you are dead. May your body afterwards be buried within the precincts of the prison, and may the Lord have mercy on your soul. Amen.
Billy, what have you done to your hair?
They would not allow me my comb, so I had them cut it off.
Are they feeding?
What I wouldn't do for a couple of fine capons. Still, one has to make the best of it.
There's a chance of a reprieve. Everyone's saying that because no strychnine was found in Mr. Cook's body, they can't possibly hang you.
I know. The judge summed up for poisoning by strychnine.
People are petitioning the Home Secretary.
There's a petition from Rugeley as well, to the Prime Minister, Lord Palmerston.
Lord Palmerston, really?
It's to have the name of Rugeley changed.
Oh.
They're saying he's agreed to it, provided we rename the town after him.
What a capital idea. Palmer's Town. No reprieve.
I'm sorry, William.
Promise me one thing. You will all look after Willie.
Suit his future. Do you want to see him?
No. I want him to know nothing.
That'll be difficult.
Stay with me, Thomas. Pray with me.
Dr. Palmer, I trust you've made your last request.
Yes, I ordered some champagne. Sounds like quite a crowd.
30,000, they estimate. Many have been waiting all night.
Eager for some sport, Douglas.
I beg you, will you acknowledge the justice of your sentence?
John Parsons Cook did not die from strychnine.
Surely this is no time for quibbling.
The Lord Chief Justice summed up for poisoning by strychnine. That's all I have to say.
Then your blood be on your own head.
Bubbles. Terrible indigestion if I drink too good.
Be a good fellow now. Let's not spoil the day.
The Lord is my shepherd, therefore can I lack nothing. He shall feed me in a green pasture and lead me forth beside the waters of comfort. He shall convert my soul and bring me forth in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff comfort me.
Safe.
My assistant will be underneath to pull on your leg. It'll be quick enough.
I am the resurrection and the life, said the Lord. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Blessed be the name.
Go on. Look all you want. I'm Mrs. Palmer, the mother of Dr. Palmer. They hanged my saintly Billy, and he was the best of my lot.